Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to Age of Engineering. This is an older mod pack originating in maybe 2016, I don't exactly remember, but it was last updated in 2017 and set in Minecraft 1.10. What is this pack? Well, this is a hardcore tech mod pack. So the game itself is not actually going to be on hardcore, we're likely going to change the difficulty to be normal difficulty. What the hardcore aspect means, in case you've never heard of it before, is it means that the pack is a more difficult pack. Oh, and very nice. We spawn directly in front of a tree. Not actually too bad of a spawn. So we're going to immediately collect our tree. It looks like there's still a little bit of server side lag. So let me see if I can fix this. Okay, just that fix seemed to have fixed the issue. Now let's take a look at our surroundings. See what we're working with. It looks like we're working with a massive amount of taiga biome. Huh. Strange. This is saying that there's area over there, but that might be from our previous little test world that ended up not working out too well. Let's go investigate. Okay, it's already updating. Yeah, I think that was a weird artifact of a previous survival save that we had, where I had kind of the same issues, so I decided to just restart, and it went with a completely new seed. These seems be running much smoother this time around. Okay. Now, like I was saying, this is a hardcore pack developed by I'll have to get the developer's name later. But I shall add that in the description, most likely. But for that, we have Age of Engineering, the guidebook here. So we can see all of this. And these are our quests. So this was a bit older of a pack, so we don't really have like the FTB crafting and all that. But we do have this nice little guidebook, which is very helpful. Um, this also has a few of the other mods in here. For the most part, we're going to be looking at this, which is where we have Age of Engineering. Welcome to Age of Engineering. This mod pack is all around mod interactions and progression through a kind of technology tree. A lot of recipes are changed to give you more satisfying and longer lasting experience. If you don't want to get spoiled how the progression is in this mod pack works, don't read this guide. But if you ever get stuck or don't mind getting spoiled, read on. To trigger the next age, you have to craft the item shown on the left of the age or look in the achievement tab for exact info. If you're on a team or use auto crafting, you can put the item in the crafting grid and craft itself to trigger an achievement. No need to craft it again. So yeah, we have all of our different ages here. Starting with the Stone Age, which is actually going to, I think, kick off once we get ourselves our first piece of stone. So we're kind of getting up here to get a lay of the land. Looks like we have a ice spikes biome over that way, which is cool because I believe this is like when they were kind of first added, and so we're a lot rarer back in the day. So we got one of those over there, and then got a sky slime island over there, and a little starting forest over there. Um, I don't think I necessarily want to settle in a snowy taiga, but we definitely could. We still have lots of our basic resources, like the canola seeds, which are part of a mod called Actually Additions. A bit of an older one. We also have an older bees mod from Forestry, which will play an important part in one of the later ages. I will admit, this is a mod pack I have played before, back when I was younger, and also a bit more recently I have played it, but I've never finished it. And so the goal of this series is to finish the pack. And that is our whole goal, is we are going to try and finish this pack and, kind of make an homage to my younger self who attempted to finish this when I was much, much too young. And honestly, well, no, I could understand the pack. I just didn't really have the good enough computer to actually run this back. But now my computer should be better than what the computers of the time were. And so it should be able to run through this pack quite handily. considering that it recommends about 4 gigabytes of RAM. And I have put about, close to 9. I might lower it down since I've heard having excess RAM can actually cause you issues. We'll start making our first tools here soon. I just did want to explore the world a bit more. But I think this plains biome will actually be where we settle, primarily because we want a nice flat, generalized area for the base. And then we can always expand and move elsewhere as needed. This is still back after the combat update, so it still takes a little while to take out sheep. But this is before a few notable features like proper swimming and some other notable changes that the modern Minecraft player would be familiar with. Also, this was before the huge texture change. And so I plan to stay on the older textures. Ooh, that is very nice to see. That is a Applied Energistics 2 Meteorite. So this is actually a pretty half-decent area. So what we're going to do is going to craft a crafting table into a crafting bench. This here is from Tinker's Construct. Now, Tinker's Construct, you're probably familiar with as it is a modern pack, but this is a much different version of Tinker's Construct. A much older version of Tinker's Construct. And so, we have to first start with making all the templates that we are going to need. We're going to 4 and 4, and this recipe is the same. Now, where things have changed is the actual stations you're going to need. Because you need one that is a crafting table, one that is a plank, and actually I need another log. So we're going to put a pot builder, tool station, stencil table. It does not matter what order we put those in. And then I'm going to make a chest. Don't worry, no funny things with the chest in this. And then we're going to put a pattern chest, which looks a lot different than the modern day one. So unlike modern, where you just put it into the pot builder with the thing and it makes a thing, you have to actually make it first. So we're going to make a pickaxe head pattern, a binding pattern, tool rod pattern, and then we're going to make a axe head pattern, shovel head, sword, cross guard, and that's going to be all we make for now. We're going to shove all of those into here. And now you go into the pot builder, where you can grab your pieces out of here. This. So we can put our head in there, a flint in there, and we can make one pickaxe head. Now if I put that, mix with that, I can get my binding and my tool rod. And now we're going to do the same over here, but for an axe. We might be able to get the shovel head. No, cannot get the shovel head. We can get the axe head. The axe, like so. Now we go to the tool builder, select the tool we want to make, put all the pieces in. And this is going to be a nice little bit of early tools. So now, I'm actually going to kill these early cows. Oh, and there's a surface lava deposit here. This is super, super helpful. So I think we're going to start by going over to this meteor. You can actually get some like surface ore, like some of this copper, and some of this coal, and other such things around. We're going to first start by getting some stone. And officially checking off that first age. So if we go check our quest book, we have officially achieved the Stone Age. Which this is telling us that we we can't smelt ores and we can't make charcoal. We need to get a Tinker's Construct smeltery and a coke oven, respectively. And so that also sort of kicks off the little industrial age here, but we'll show you what that means there. And then also it says make a dimension to a portal to the mining dimension for the mining, which I will show that later. Alright, so I'm going to get some basic tools done and also begin gathering the materials for the smeltery. And I'll join you back once I have that done. Also, I've just now realized in the middle of mining a bunch of sand, I kind of forgot to mention what the goal of this mod pack is. And the goal of this mod pack is essentially to reach creative everything. So if we were to, once again, take a look up at the guide, you'll see at the very end here, it is the creative age. The goal is literally to create some of the creative items, like creative fluid tanks, creative flight, and all that sort of stuff. Another goal I have for the series is to try and see how much I can get done in 100 days. And personally, I would love to see myself try and get to at least the calculation age, if not the empowering age, within 100 days, which I think we'll be able to do if we play nice and fast. We're currently, let's see, we're currently on day 3, and this is the night of day 3. And so, where I can, I will try and play over the course of the night. Oh no, those are, oh god. That is not good. That might be the first death. That is the first death. Okay. Well, we'll just sleep and go get our stuff back. So yeah, if you thought baby zombies were bad, this pack has, or baby mobs, which I believe is from Mechanism Editions, I want to say. Mainly it's the baby skeletons back in this day. I think in more modern packs, they are actually there are baby Endermen, and there are baby creepers. Just gonna try and grab the stuff and leave. It's a good thing we're not playing in actual hardcore, because that would have been a Filza situation, but even worse, because those things are menaces to society. Anyway, I will see you back once I have gathered the rest of the materials, like I had said. I just wanted to quickly add those couple little things while I was thinking about them. Alright, welcome back everyone, and we are ready to begin working on the smeltery. At least able to start crafting things. So first we need to make the grout, which I think is about the standard recipe, which is just sand, gravel, and clay. And I like to use the full block version. There's a different recipe, which is actually just 1 clay, gravel, and that, which is a bit easier. Anyway, that gets us 4 stacks. We had a small creeper explosion, so things look a bit weird over here. And then we'll take what we have left, and we'll make a just smaller amount. Because every little bit counts. Very nice. That's a lot of grout, and this should be enough. This should be plenty for the time being. Now, we are going to, I think, need a little bit extra bits and bobs. Worry about that later. We'll throw this in there, this in there. There we go. So it's 8 coal. Another thing while we're looking at this, you can actually see like the carbon value here on these blocks. And this has a carbon value of 1600 and a burn time of 1600. And so any burnable, like most of the burnable items, like this one has a carbon value of that, but only a burn time of 300. And so a burn time of 200, yeah, a burn time of 200 is how much you need for 1 item. And so each coal has a burn time of, 8 items. And I can actually make it into tiny coal, and then each tiny coal burns 1 item. So it's a nice little, let's say you can get like some more efficient use out of your coal, especially if you're only smelting like 1 or 2 items, or if you have it set up into an auto smelter. But for now, we're just going to have it set up like this, and we might eventually make an actual auto smelting little setup. And then this is easy enough to craft back in. You just need to do it any shapeless. Actually, it might be like that. There we go. It's like that. Circle of coal, and you can make your tiny coal back in a normal coal. I've also been kind of working on my food issue. And by that, I have been taking the rotten flesh and hanging it up to dry, which turns into this monster jerky, which is pretty decent food. It's not, great, but it's food. So we can live off that for a little while we wait for other things to cook up. What's next on the docket is actually to make the mining portal, which needs this tool here, the mining multi-tool, which is pretty simple to make. And then this is used to make these portal frames, and those are just made out of stone bricks, which we can actually make with a chisel. But obviously, we don't have any iron quite yet. So I'm going to go get a bunch more cobblestone. And once I have all that cobblestone, we'll be able to expand our nice little... We'll be able to make the mining dimension portal. Also, I'm thinking of moving the actual, like, kind of spot we build. Because as much as this little hill is nice, I do think we want somewhere a little bit more flat. Now, there's some flat areas there and like some flat areas around here. If we look at JEI, or not JEI, at Journey Map, we have some like flat along this section here, and then there's a little bit of flat over here. But over here is a really nice flat area, and if we get some of the more dirt, we can fill in this eventually. But this would be a really, really nice spot to start off. We have some lava axes over here in a ravine for some good mining. And we're also surrounded by a forest to assist with that, plus a few more lakes for any needs we have from there, and we're still close to this meteor. We also found another meteor down here, so hopefully we can get all the stuff we need from only those two. And yeah. So yeah, I'm going to work on getting all that cobblestone now. And then honestly, I might move the base over once this is done cooking up. Hi everyone, welcome back. Right now, I'm making the multi-mining tool. So we'll just quickly make that up. Now I have all the stone here, which we can quickly make into stone bricks. I might make 2 extra ones into... That's not how you make stone bricks, that's how you make stone bricks. Some extra ones. That way we can have a full thing without the corners. And then, yeah, I'm going to begin moving all the stuff over to the new location as well. So I'm actually going to start with some of this stuff here. This shouldn't take up too much space. Yep, okay, so we move our tools. Those can stack up. That can go in there. Okay, as well as some of this stuff so we can begin farming as soon as I get over there. Alright. Now I'm going to grab the bed. Though quickly, we'll make this into that and this into here. Alright. I'll go bring this stuff over there and then I'll light the portal and show you how that works. Okay, we've arrived back at the new location. And I think we're going to set up the mining portal a little bit ways. I think we're going to set it over here. Because that way it's a nice... It's still nice and close, but it's a bit out of the way of what we're going to build. I think we're going to build the kind of starter house right there. And so we're going to dig out the ground here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we go 1, 2, 3. You want that fourth one on top. Much like how if you were building another portal. It's actually the exact same shape as if you were building another portal. And then no need to light it with the flint and steel. We can just use the multi-block. And as it says there in the chat, we just have to sneak to go through. So if we sneak, we will go through. And this is basically a super flat world where there's always daytime. So there's lots of cows and such here. Another quirk is that all the water is this kind of black color. It's very strange. This is all water. And then the other major thing is that this is the, like I said, it was the mining dimension. And so it has a bunch of caves and everything all over the place. And now there's also going to be no hostile mobs on the surface. And the benefit of that is you can make it's like solar power farms and all sorts of other things up here on the surface, as well as there's so many passive mobs up here that we can hunt for food. So this is a nice little dimension. And of course we can still, if we go to in here, no, inventory, open that up and we go to claim chunks. But we need to make a team. Make a new team. We'll make it green, except now if we were to go here, we could claim chunks and then we could actually force chunk load those. And force chunk loading would allow us to have all sorts of things out here that can be going even while we're not in this dimension. It's very incredibly helpful. And now we're back in the real world. Another thing I noticed the last time I played this pack is that the caves in the mining dimension actually match the caves in the real dimension, including ores. So that might be something we look into. Potentially get some sneaky little extra ores. Yeah, that is how we build that. And then I'll finish moving everything over and kind of plot out the actual base area. And then once we have all that plotted out, I will bring you back and give you a guide through that, and then perhaps actually work on the smeltery finally and upgrade some of my tools. Now, I already have sort of an idea for the base, but we're going to go with a bit of a more classical era of Minecraft design than a modern era design. I think it'll work very well. You'll probably see a lot less forest by the time I'm done. Speaking of, I completely forgot. Right there. Okay. While I'm thinking of it, we need to find a rubber tree, which luckily I spot one right there. You can tell because it is a tree with two kind of blocks going up. And now we're going to need those. Not quite yet, but it would be nice to start farming them because of Industrial Craft 2, also known as IC2. And that's probably how I refer to it from now on, is IC2. And it was a very popular tech mod way back in the day, back when this was out and much more popular. But I don't really know if it has continued on into the modern day. But it was a very, very classical pack. Same with some of the other tech mods in here, which is part of the reason I actually started with this mod pack, is because I wanted to kind of relive some of the more classical mods from back in the day. And I didn't really want to play a pack that was Create mod based. As much as I love the Create mod, I think it is a little bit oversaturated not only in the mod pack like space, but also just in the modded Minecraft kind of series. And so I figured I'd start mine using a pack without Create to kind of get into the flow of seeing, and also kind of showing off what were packs like before Create mod. And then once this pack is finished, I'm thinking we will actually do the pack called Create Above and Beyond, but specifically Create Above and Beyond in New, just because it is the newer version of Create, but still the same old mod pack. And that was another one I actually did play, and I got a decent way through, but I never fully finished. So I'd like to eventually finish that pack. And it's also kind of a semi-hardcore, if not no, it's a semi-hardcore, I'd say, tech pack as well. Kind of similar to this one, where the recipes are a lot harder, progression is a lot slower, but it's not nearly as kind of slow as this one, where you can't even smelt ore until you get a Tinker's Smeltery. Alright, everyone, I know I was going to get wood, but guess what? I have discovered a village. And we're mainly going to steal all the crops. Because I have been starving out here. But not only are we going to steal all the crops, we're also going to see if they have anything interesting for sale. Oh, you're a jam guy. Oh, no, you're an arborist. Okay. So this is actually something we'll need to be interested in, because we need trees for something later on in the pack, I believe. Now we have the blacksmith. This is where important things could happen. Namely, look at all this. This is going to be really good. So we have some dock boots. We'll put those on. I think they're slightly better than the bronze. And the bronze we can actually melt down. And now the rest of this, we have the iron, and we have some tin. All of this is very handy. Obviously, we can make a normal iron pickaxe with this, but we have gold, which is also very helpful. And then there's some lava here, which we don't need for right now. But we do have some nice villagers that spawned. But I don't see an apiary hut or anything like that. Oh wait, there is something. Alright, this is one of the modded structures here. I don't remember if this is the jam or the bee one. This is the jam one. So a bunch of jam. And then there's the jam guy. You sometimes you'll be able to sell the jam he has in here to him. Yes, it's very helpful. Ooh, and I see another resin tree. Hello everyone, welcome back, and I almost forgot about you. I just started building up the smeltery after finishing parts of the house. So, I was, yeah, I was like, wait a minute, I need to bring you guys in for this. And we were just setting it up, very rudimentary. We need to go fill these up with fluid, but we will do that in a little bit. But there you go, as you can see, this is ready to go. And actually get a bucket. I do have a little bit of iron that we found. Yes, there we go. That we can put like that, and that's how we can get our first little bucket. Um, yeah, very soon we will be ready to make metal tools. I've also been dealing with so many mobs, it is so annoying. Especially since my main sword I was using has broken. Now I'm down to an axe, which I don't really like using. But hey, we can just sleep. And eventually we'll get everything lit up. There we go. Would you look at that? We got another skeleton skull to add to collection. Also, here's how the little base is coming along. I've kind of been inspired by some of the older little bases. We got this little staircase that goes up here into what will eventually be the main little house. And we have an expansion, which honestly might expand the house over to this way. We'll see. I think I want to leave this open, or maybe like a small garden or something else out back here. Maybe the coat coven. We'll see. But mainly, we're gonna have an upstairs section, which will, I think, actually go one block out, so it'll actually line up with the outside blocks. And then we'll also extend a full section over here, so we'll have this whole section plus this little expansion area all nice and included in the upstairs, but the downstairs is going to be this little section. I also went ahead and claimed all the land, so now creepers will no longer blow me sky high whenever I accidentally detonate them. And yeah, I think that is a good spot to kind of end episode 1. We have the beginnings of our base in our soon-to-be permanent base location, which the kind of next big project will be filling all this out. I think that's going to happen after the creosote oven has been completed. The other task that is going to happen is finish up the house, which, like I said, we're going to have the 2 stories. Upper story is probably going to have a bit more storage than the lower one. We're going to get this field up and upgrade our tools. And if anything, I'll put the smeltery back here, and then I might put the coke oven down here. I kind of designed this to have each of these are 7x7 sections. And so for example, this is technically a 5x5 little area. And so it nicely fits into its corner. Oh, that's what that extra brick was for. You know what? We do need the extra 3 of these. So we'll get our max size. And we'll get our extra seared faucet, which we need to put on this side. We'll put the last sealed bricks. What that does is it actually extends the space. So this can smelt as many ore as can fit in the physical block volume at a time. And normally, these would, back in the day when this came out, or when this mod came out specifically, this would actually double ore just for putting it in here. But we can't actually double the ore with this mod. It just is a 1-to-1 ratio. Modern day, it's a 3-to-1 ratio. So for every 3 ore, you'll get 1 extra. No, it's technically 1.3. So like every 3 ore, you get an extra ore with the modern day version versus this one, which is just a singular ore each time. But we can actually start doubling that relatively soon if we make a crusher. No, it is a macerator. Macerator. There we go. Yeah, we can make the macerator, which is kind of expensive because we need a block cutting blade diamond, which can use the industrial diamonds, but we have like no real way of making industrial diamonds quite yet. Yeah, this requires a a bit of stuff we don't quite have. But in case you're wondering why this is considered a hardcore tech mod, as I haven't really showed that off, other than, of course, we need a whole contraption just to smelt. Or, is because if we look at this, we need, not the electronic circuits. No, yeah, we need the electronic circuits, which if you look, require a bunch of cables, a iron plate, some redstone. To get the plate, which is actually there's a few different plates, which is annoying, but the standard plate is the Industrial Craft 2 plate. Once it cycles back to it, this one, which is using the forge hammer and 2 iron ingots. And then once you get a block cutting machine, it becomes a 1-to-1 ratio. Same with the metal former. So we have a few different options to get metal, but that's just for the basic stuff. So like a basic machine casing and the basic electronic circuit. Same with this, which needs a rubber that we were talking about. Now, where it gets complicated is when you go to the next stage up. Let's see if I can go find it. There we go. This is how we make the advanced machine casing. And it requires some of these carbon plates, these advanced alloy and steel plates. Steel plates, same as iron, we just need steel. The advanced alloy plates, though, require mixed metal ingots and a compressor. And the mixed metal ingots are an iron plate, a bronze plate, and a tin plate. And that gets you 2 for every 3. So for every block of material that we would use, we would get 6 mixed metal ingots. And then you need 2 ingots each in order to make an advanced machine casing. And the advanced machine casings is what we need to make our like next set of tools, mainly to make these iron casings once we get into the empowering age. And this is what we need to make empowerers and other such equipment. So we have to kind of start at the baseline of these tools and start working our way up. The biggest thing is actually going to be the steel. So we can fit steel down here as well. I don't know if the IE2. We could also put that down here, like over in the corners. We could set up our early industrial craft machines down here because they'd be protected from rain for anything that has to do with that. And it would be kind of a central little base location for them to be. And then, of course, up here, like I said, I wanted to have kind of a nice open area, which we might put some stuff up here. Then we have a house, which is primarily going to be for storage. And then we have this back section, which I think I want to extend that up here. Because then I can control it and cast everything from up here. Or I could have more down there as well. So I can kind of have a 2-layer system. But it'll allow me to access my base. Or I was thinking keeping that, pushing it back here, keeping it tight as it was. And if I want, I can extend deeper. And then moving the mining dimension portal out back here. Having the mining dimension portal and then some bulk storage drawer storage back here, kind of underneath the little house bit. So yeah, we'll work something like that out. And let's see. Is the dawn of day 13? Was the night of day 13? Well, everyone, that was episode 1 of Age of Engineering. We have firmly established ourselves within the so-called Stone Age, and we are approaching the Industrial Age. In the next episode, we will finish the house, upgrade our tools, and maybe do a little bit of shifting around at the base, and prepare for the crafting of the coke oven. And then once we have the coke oven, we will be able to finally enter the Industrial Age and begin working on machines. I think we are on track to potentially get to the Empowering Age by day 100, as things will start to open up as we get into machines and automation. It's just going to require a lot of mining. And so very likely it would be either be some off-camera mining or an entire mining episode in that portal back there. So yeah, I will see you guys in the next episode, and I hope to continue the series until it is completed and until we have creative everything. And I will see you all then. Now, like, comment, subscribe, and please have a good rest of your day.